You know, as far as I can remember, I was always getting into trouble. It started at a really young age, maybe around 8 years old. I had asthma real bad as a kid, and at the time, doctors would prescribe these drugs that would basically give you adrenaline and allow you to breathe easier. It wasn't long after I started taking those that I realized that I could do things beyond my normal capabilities. And that's probably, when I think back, that's where my drug use really started. I started smoking pot at the age of 12 years old. I started stealing and take all that money, and of course older kids liked me because I always had money, so they would haul me around in their cars, and they had drugs, and so then I would do their drugs. And by the time I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I mean, I got detained by the police a few times, and it was really just getting out of control. By the time I was 24 years old, I was just strung out doing crystal meth, cocaine, whites, LSD, you name it, I was doing it. I happened to be in Nevada this one particular weekend. I was playing guitar. I was on the stage, and as I was playing this song, I was looking out at everybody. And it's weird because like a silence came over me, and I was thinking to myself, man, look at this. I got drinks, I got chicks waiting to party, people are dancing, and I'm miserable. And I actually put the guitar down in the middle of the song, and I walked over across the dance floor to a phone booth, and I called my father. I just had an overwhelming feeling to apologize to him. And he goes, son, you need Jesus. And here my dad was telling me I had to receive Jesus, and forcefully he led me through the sinner's prayer while I was in a phone booth in a bar. From the age of 24 to the age of 28, I did try to do the right thing. I would go to church on Sundays, but I was still partying those other days. Those times pretty much continued, and I got married, had a daughter, and it was right before Christmas. And I went on a cocaine binge, and I rented a hotel room. At the end of the weekend, when I came back home, my wife had put all my belongings out in the middle of the street. I knew I wasn't welcome there anymore. So I drove to my mother's house. And I arrived at her home, and I asked her if I could stay. And she said, yeah, you can stay here as long as I, don't find out you're doing drugs. Well, little did she know, I probably had 3 or 4 different types of drugs in my system at the time. She asked me to sit down at the kitchen table, and I sat down, and she then put some pictures down on the table, and she pointed to them, and she said, you see these pictures? They were pictures of me when I was a little boy. I said, yeah, Mom, I see those pictures. What's up? She goes, that's my little boy. Who are you? And I said, it's me, Mom. And she said, no, you're not Dirk. And then she handed me a book called Courage. It was a book that really was about all the things about being a man that I had never really heard or paid attention to. I went into her guest bedroom, and I started reading that book, and almost immediately it consumed me. I read that whole book, and about 5 a.m. in the morning, I grabbed a piece of paper, and I just wrote a letter to God. And in it I said, Lord, if you don't take these drugs away from me now, I'm not going to follow you. And I kind of cried myself to sleep. I woke up the next morning at about 11 a.m. and my face was fixated out a window. And it was a beautiful day. There was a tree, and I saw a white cloud and a blue sky, and I thought to myself, wow, it's a beautiful day. And then I thought, that doesn't sound like me. I don't ever talk like that. And the still small voice of the Lord spoke to me and just said, I've set you free. I've been on fire for Jesus ever since. I think when you ask Christ to come into your heart and you truly surrender to Him, He makes a place in you. And He's there with you every moment of every day. And I found that to be true. I see the grace and the mercy that the Lord had for me. And it's something I wouldn't trade in for the world.